But anyway, the Power Fund Culver initiative was approved by the legislature in 2007, and it's a $100 million 4-year program, or it was 4-year program to attract alternative energy research and development in Iowa. Branstad said last week he would review the Power Fund along with all the state's economic development programs to determine which should be continued. He has proposed replacing the state's existing economic development agency with a public-private agency that's more responsive to business opportunities. And I'm really hoping that what's foremost in both Branstad and Culver's mind is job creation, not just the creation of their own jobs as governor, but the jobs of the people of the state of Iowa. And I don't think that green jobs should, be conditional, like if I get elected then, or if, then I'll create jobs, or if I get elected then I might discontinue this program depending on how the political wind blows. We do need jobs in Iowa, and I don't think that should be politicized. I think that if we see a path that we need to take, and the research is very clear and documented, and I think the needs of the Iowa community has been stated very clearly: job creation, economy, healthcare, taking care of families, moving forward, not backward. I think that should, be examined in a more calm light. I would say a calm light, and not a political light. Although all politics is local, I would really like to see Iowa continue to move forward and not be held back by political posturing. As I pointed out, at the higher, federal level, where it even came down to we may have solar heaters, on the White House, or we may not. I'm going to put the solar heater up. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to put it on. Because I have friends over here who don't like solar, and my friends do, so I'm going to put the solar heater back on top of the White House. I think that's not right, and I think there's a better way to consider those issues, and I think there's a responsible way to do that, and I'm really hoping Terry Branstad and Chet Culver, if you're listening, and I know lots of stuff is going on this close to the end game, but if you're listening, please take that issue very seriously and don't treat it as a toy or a chess piece to move around on a chessboard. I think Iowa deserves better from both of you. All right, moving on. Okay. So I'll get back to away from policy and politics, back to history and facts about solar energy. Basically, solar energy is radiant heat and light. And since ancient times, the use for solar has been limited only by human ingenuity. The sun has been constant. And it's going to be constant for quite a while. The only thing that changes in that equation is how near we can get to capturing available to us. How far can we develop to get ourselves to the place where we can actually use that energy? Currently, only a fraction of solar's potential is being used. And a lot of it is for just the reasons I commented on just a second ago. Basically, the research is available, the technology is available, the possibility is known, that it exists. So it's not research and technology that's holding us back. It's policy that's holding us back. That's something to think about. So only a fraction is being used, but there's different levels of solar depending on geographic proximity to the equator. So naturally, there's more sunlight the closer available once you get closer to the equator. But that's not always the case. Different weather patterns kind of decide how much sun filters through, and then global warming also kind of affects how much sunlight gets through too. But those are future shows too. Let's see. There's two kinds of solar energy, active or passive. Active is basically the capturing of solar energy that involves mechanics, mechanical parts, machinery, photovoltaic panels, pumps, things like that. And they actually, filtering sunlight through those machinery, mechanical parts, it increases and expands the energy output. Passive solar energy is all around us. It grows our plants, it dries our clothes on the line, it dries our food, things like that. It makes our sun tea. And so that's the difference. Basically, for instance, if you had clothes hanging on the line, that solar energy used to dry them is passive. However, if you have a machine, a solar dryer that has mechanical parts on it that concentrates the sun's rays and maybe increases the level of heat or air circulation to dry the clothes, that's active. And you can even take it to the greenhouse. Plants growing in your garden with the sun shining on it, that's passive solar energy. But if you use some kind of HVAC system operated by solar energy in your greenhouse, or somehow concentrate the sunlight through mechanical parts like photovoltaics to operate the greenhouse, then that's active. So just a little tidbit there. But anyway, solar energy has been used for many centuries in architecture and urban planning. Like I commented with wind, solar energy capturing, whether passive or active, mostly passive has been used in architecture in the ancient days, but it was available and it was used, particularly by the Greeks and then by the Chinese. And then if anyone has been in the Southwest, you can see quite a lot of Native American dwellings in the desert acknowledge the power of solar energy. They were very much aware of the passive use of solar energy and built their homes that way. So architecture and urban planning, agriculture and horticulture, and the greenhouse is one example, but there's so much more available. For lighting and for heating, for solar thermal or water heating, cooling, and ventilation, and then water treatment too is one used for solar energy. And different forms of water treatment, which are classic examples. For instance, distillation, disinfection, and desalination. So the sun has been used to make either polluted water or salty water or water that was not clean or non-potable, we'll say. The sun was used to clean the water and make it potable, which is very important in regions where there's either a sizable body of water nearby, but it's for some reason not usable for drinking. They've built plants. For instance, in Chile, there's a huge desalination plant there, and I think it's Las Salinas, Chile, is where that's located. And then also, solar energy is used for cooking. And yes, you can cook with the sun. You can concentrate those rays and create enough heat to where you can actually cook, and not just throwing an egg on the sidewalk and seeing if it'll fry. There are actually ovens that use solar energy to cook food or process food.